Thank you, Jonathan. Back here at home, we know San Antonio, when we prepare for a big weather event, there is a lot of preparation that goes into it. There's a lot of decision making along the way, a lot of collaboration. So to break it all down, joins us in today's Leading SA segment, Maria Villagomez, Deputy City Manager. Thank you so much for starting your morning with us.
Good morning, Max. Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, what did the city learn from last year's freeze? Were there any adjustments to the standard operating procedure? And if there is another situation like what we saw last February, would we face another potential power crisis?
Well, we learned a lot. One of the areas that we focused on was communication. And not just communication internally within the city, but also with the utilities. And most importantly, the communication to our community. I think from a resident's perspective, when there's a weather event like the one we had in February of last year, or the event that we had last week, they expect to see a united front with the city, the utilities, the county, and other agencies that respond to an emergency like that. So that was one of probably the most important lesson for us, was that coordination with our partners and meeting the expectations of our community, to keeping them informed so they know what's going on, what preparations are being made, and what can they expect if a weather situation is supposed to turn into an inclement weather, and what are the options that they have in our community.
You talk a lot about communication. What about collaboration? What does that collaboration look like between the city, CPS, SAWS, maybe even ERCOT and other necessary organizations?
Yeah, so collaboration, to your point, is critical. We work closely with SAWS, CPS, and the county pretty much on a daily basis because of the services that we provide to the community. In the case of an emergency, that collaboration is key. We, the city, cannot provide those services to the community if we are not collaborating and knowing what's going on at CPS, at SAWS, and the county as well. To your point, CPS is our main liaison with ERCOT, and they keep us abreast of any areas that we should be aware of, again, with the goal of providing those critical services to our community, and again, showing that collaboration within the different entities here in San Antonio.
We know there's a lot of decision making that goes on behind the scenes. So what goes into these decisions to shut down certain government buildings or key government operations?
Well, one of the key things that our city manager will focus on is those critical services to the community. So, for example, as you can imagine, first responders, police and fire, those services stay on regardless of the event that is going on here in our community. So those decisions are made, one, to ensure that we have critical services to our community, and also looking at the safety of our employees. The city has processes in place, contingency plans, if the weather turns to be inclement, and we may be able to close some operations. When we had the response to COVID-19, we closed some of our forward services like the libraries and our community centers to ensure the community was safe and our employees were safe as well. In an emergency like a weather event, a winter event, or a flood event, we make those decisions to ensure, one, we're providing those services to the public and also keeping our employees safe.
And you kind of just touched on preparations a little bit. We don't want to scare anybody, but we do want to make sure the community is prepared. So what is your message to people in our community? We're starting to see these colder temperatures. So what are the best ways to prepare just in case?
Sure. So, here in San Antonio, the weather can be unpredictable. We may have a very warm day, and the next day our temperatures drop. So being prepared is key. So one of the things that we have done as a city, working with SAWS and CPS, our residents can visit our websites, and you'll find a lot of resources on how to prepare today. So don't wait until there's an event or 2 days prior to the event. But being aware of what are those things that you can have at home, an emergency kit, a family communication plan. What would you do if an event happens? Who would your children call? Who would you call if you need assistance? Also very critical, if they're vulnerable members of your family, also to ensure that they register with the city and the utility so we can provide those critical services to them.
All right, Deputy City Manager, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.